welcome to Make It with Sheri and summer reading. How exciting. This year's theme is reading colors your world. So the next few projects we're going to do with Make It with Sheri are just going to be really colorful projects. And if you haven't come in, we've got this really fun booklet to kind of help you with your summer reading. It's an idea book. It has all kinds of suggestions and activities that you can do. Tells you how to get onto our summer reading app, which we're using Beanstack, so that's on our first page. Tells you how drawings work. In the center, we've got a calendar and art activities. So this is a fun little activity book, idea book that you could pick up. And our first activity today is going to be making kind of like a sand art, but we're going to use salt. So all you need for this is any kind of salt, some food coloring, a funnel, and I have two. I've got kind of a small one, kind of a deeper one, and then just some baggies. So really super inexpensive, probably things you have in your house. So let's have some fun. I decided to add one more color, and this is the green that I made mixing blue and yellow. This is the green that I made just using the green food coloring. So there's lots of ways you can play with this. I found that the more food coloring you add to get that right color, this makes sense, the moister that salt is, and it does resemble sand much more. It doesn't, fall out as easily. It's a little more like wet sand. So keep that in mind when you're making your designs. I think we'll do one more in this big jar. We'll just try to finish out with all of these really great colors. I really enjoy using the funnel. The funnel really can help add to your design. And you'll see as I'm pouring this, some of it is pouring pretty easily, but it's got a little different texture. It's a little more damp, and this might take two people. Like if you want it really in a corner, want to give it an angle, someone has to hold the funnel at such an angle. The other one will do the pouring. So this could be a really fun collaborative activity as well. Hope you see how I'm getting that right in the corner. Now this one is a little bit square. It's a little more round. This was definitely a square project, and so as I aimed for different corners, I got a really different design. This will be a little different because it's a little more round. We'll use some pink now, and I'm going to aim for a different corner. Try to fill up that space. There we go. When I did this one, it was all just very round, and I just shook it down so I would just have, as close as I could, have some just even layers. Just another way to go about it. The other thing that's really neat is depending on the containers you use. This container that has the really even was actually an Old Spice container. So it does have a shaker top. And all this is salt with food coloring. So if you wanted to use that in your cooking, I don't think that would hurt anything. Could add a really fun element to whatever it is you're cooking. So that could be another way to how to use this project to color some some of your activities. You can kind of move that funnel around as you're doing it. Super fun. I'm gonna bring my purple in, which looks more like black, but it does add a contrasting color. So we're gonna put that in. I'm gonna go to this corner too. We're gonna try to build up those corners. That color. I think we need some yellow. We need some pale yellow to kind of balance that out. Let's start over here. We're gonna move over there. So fun. This is fascinating. I'm having the best time. So I hope you and yours, as you decide to do this, if you decide to do it, just a fun. This would be a great, you know, rainy afternoon. You can't go out and play. You know, oh, maybe someone needs a nap, so you want to do something kind of quiet. So those that need to rest can get some rest in. You know, creating, I've always said, is the one thing that I could not live without. Just that ability, that opportunity to be creative. No, we can't use that. We've already used that. We want to kind of give a contrasting color. I'm trying to finish out my salt. I don't know about you, when I was young, we had an hourglass, and you could watch the sand, you know, you'd turn it, you'd watch that sand fall. And though that seems silly, I was totally and completely mesmerized by the hourglass and watching that sand fall through. And this is just as mesmerizing, if you ask me. So how should we finish up? We got a little bit of blue we haven't touched in a minute. You know, and this could be, you know, you could put significant meaning behind the colors, what they mean for your family, for you as individuals. You could do sports teams, you could do, you know, all kinds of things. Since my funnel is so long, I'm just gonna finish up here. Do not use the funnel, just try to bring the lid. Oh, how fun. This was so much fun. There we have it. We got a little bit of salt left. It's a really unique individual designs. Another really cool way to use salt to make some art is this project that I'm going to show you today. This is salt painting. And so all we need is some cardstock, and I've got some black because I want to do like a fireworks kind of picture that'll be coming up soon. It's all about color, and we're coloring our world. And there's so many stories you can tell about fireworks and the 4th of July's you spent. So I'm going to do that on this black cardstock. And then I also have just white cardstock that I can do anything, any flower, rainbow, what have you. So the point is to draw it first. Really simple drawings, not really detailed, because then we're gonna glue the salt to it. It's gonna dry, and then we're gonna paint the salt. So if there's a lot of details, it might not turn out quite the way you want it to. So I'm just gonna do a rainbow. So I've done the drawing. The next step is just to glue and put the salt down. So any kind, so I'll do the outside first. Any kind of glue. Just want to put a nice thick bead of glue down. Elmer's works just fine. Any kind of white glue. You can use a craft glue. And just any kind of it's kind of simple glue. And you don't have to draw this. You can, I'm sure you can find what you need as something just to print down, some kind of black line master. For my fireworks, I'm going to use a white colored pencil to kind of give me the colors that I want. That might be trickier, but we will. And I'm just gonna do some little dotted ones. I love those ones that just sparkle. It just looks like it's sparkling in the sky. Kind of booms, and then they just kind of make kind of that sound. So we'll just put some dots here, and this is what we're gonna put the salt to. Okay, so I have these two things, and I want to get the salt on them pretty quickly. So doing this at home, you might want like a cookie sheet or something. I've got this little mat to help me kind of clean up when I'm done. And instead of pouring it straight from the container, I'm going to use a little cup, and then I spilled, and just be kind of working smaller batches. So I have gotten rid of all the excess salt, poured that all out, and I have my design still there. And now I'm just going to use some watercolors. So you might have these around in your house, and we're going to paint the salt with watercolors. So I have just a really simple little brush. I'm going to get these a little bit wet. So the cool thing about having just a little bit of color, a lot of water, that when you hit it with the salt, it spreads. You don't have to do much. I'm not really painting, I'm just touching the salt. The color kind of spreads. Every once in a while you probably want just a little bit more water, especially if the color's kind of fading. Here we have the rainbow, and it worked just like the black paper and the fireworks. I used cardstock for all this, and I have to say I noticed a difference as to how the white cardstock handled it versus the black cardstock. Also, this was a lot of glue. And all this glue made this paper very, very wet. So if you look closely, you can see that there is salt in between each band. And at some points, the paint kind of spread through those salts. Whereas with the black paper, I didn't have that issue really at all. When I shook all that salt off, and I think that has a lot to do with the design here, there was more space. There's a little salt still on, but it didn't carry as much moisture as that design did, so it worked a little bit better. So be aware of that. And I had to let all of this dry overnight and then shake the salt off. And that's part of what's going to make this fun when you're doing it at home, just watching that color really spread. So let's do it right here. Oh, it even went over the orange. I hope you could see that. We'll do it. Just a dip there, and you know, it reacts to that salt and it just spreads. So that's a really cool aspect of this project that the kids can see. You don't need much water. You really don't need that much paint, because the salt is going to soak it up and spread it around. So this is another little project that you can do with your salt. You can make a salt painting, or you can take your colored salt and really make a nice design in some kind of jar.